Gang, this is my second of 2 autumn themed videos for you guys. I won't do any other ones, at least I don't think I have. I have more themed ones coming up within the next weeks or so if they haven't already aired, but I won't do any more until after I get back, obviously. But today I've got a men's designer list for you, a top 20. If you want to find out what these fragrances are, then please stay tuned. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian. Yesterday we're talking about men's designer fragrances that are perfect to wear in the autumn months. I did a niche version recently. Yeah, if you haven't caught that one, please go catch it. It's been up for a couple of weeks, and this is the men's designer list. As I said, we're going to go ahead and get started at number 20 with the House of ROCHAS. This is Moustache EDP. So Moustache EDP is a great combination of vanillic and spicy and woody notes together with some citruses and some earthy notes too. It's vanilla, pink pepper, benzoin, cedar, rose, mandarin orange, and patchouli. And a lot of people compare this to YSL's Tuxedo. I can see the similarities. Somebody was recently asking me if they have Tuxedo, do they need this? I don't think you need this if you already have Tuxedo and vice versa. There's similarities. They're not like totally identical, but you're gonna see similarities for sure. So at number 20, it's Moustache from the House of ROCHAS, a house I don't speak too much about on the channel. That's the EDP version, as I should say also, because the original Eau de Toilette had originally come out in the 50s or 60s. It's completely different than the EDP. Moving on to the House of LALIQUE, ENCRE Noir à l'Extrême. If you haven't noticed, I'm ranking Vetivers lately more in the bottom. I'm kind of bored of them again. I don't know, they're just kind of becoming a little too one-dimensional. Not so exciting, even though I enjoy the notes. So ENCRE Noir is here at number 19. It's Vetiver, Incense, Cypress, Elemi, Benzoin, Sandalwood, Patchouli, Orris, and Bergamot. And I'm recommending the à la Extrême version because I find it a little more interesting than the original version, whereas the original version becomes a little one-dimensional, a little linear. Here we've got some more unique things happening. So number 19, ENCRE Noir à la Extrême. Moving on to the House of Cartier, one of 2 fragrances from this house. This is Declaration. Declaration is a great autumn fragrance. I feel like it smells like autumn. It's spicy, it's woody, sexy, a little musky, and some citrusy touches as well. It's cardamom, bitter orange, caraway, black pepper, vetiver, and cedar. Created by Jean-Claude Helena and been around since 1996 or 97. And if you notice here, I won't have too many parfum versions in this list. I have 1 or 2. The majority of them are off the list. They'll be featured in a winter list, but Cartier Declaration has a parfum. I'm going with the Eau de Toilette here. You can go with the parfum as well. Next up, going to the House of ZADIG and VOLTAIRE. This is him. So this is kind of moved down, but still a solid release. It's very sandalwoody to me with the combination of vanilla, incense, black pepper, and grapefruit. So it has woods, sweet vanillic touches. It's quite powdery, and of course it's got spices thrown in as well, with a little bit of a zing from grapefruit. Definitely a solid release, but sadly right now I'm feeling it at number 17. This is him from the House of ZADIG and VOLTAIRE. Are you familiar with that house and that fragrance? Do let me know. Put a comment down so I can find out. Moving on to number 16, going to feature SPICEBOMB from VIKTOR&ROLF here. The original version. I still haven't dug into their more extreme versions. This is the only version I have, although I have the red one. I didn't care for the green one. Cinnamon, pink pepper, tobacco, leather, saffron, chili pepper, Elemi, vetiver, bergamot. I feel like it's holiday in a bottle in a designer way. It's a very solid release. It's got that tobacco and lots of warm spices with some freshness, and of course the tobacco and the leathery touches as well. SPICEBOMB from the House of VIKTOR&ROLF at number 16. Next, going to the House of BRIONI. This is EDP Intense, BRIONI EDP Intense. I like this one a lot. I really do, because of the apple. It's juicy, fruity, very, very pulpy kind of apple, like drippy. I like that about this one. But it also has lots of saffron, and then there's the oud here, so it's a little oudy, it's a little leathery. There's muskiness and amberiness, and then some juicy citruses and spices as well. BRIONI EDP, wonderful fragrance from BRIONI. It's a solid release for sure. Next, moving on to the House of Tom Ford. It's Noir Extreme at number 14. Noir Extreme is definitely a really great release from this house. Obviously, a lot of people like it because it's been around, and the rest of the Noir series of men's fragrances are pretty discontinued. They just launched a parfum. I'll feature that in the winter list. Here I'm featuring the Eau de Parfum, and it's a great kind of sweet vanillic gourmandish kind of fragrance take on the original Noir, which I don't smell much of the original Noir here, but it's a wonderful fragrance. It has the kind of creamy vanillic pistachio ice cream Kulfi touch here with amber, and then there's the cardamom, there's saffron, there's neroli, and there's mandarin orange. Wonderful fragrance. It's Noir Extreme from the house of Tom Ford. Now this next fragrance I'm starting to really love. I keep coming back to it. It smells fantastic. And even though I felt originally it reminded me a little bit of Midnight in Paris or Bulgari Black, I'm really in love with this fragrance, and it's kind of creeping up to the top of my lists lately, more in the designer list. This is Luna Rossa Black from the house of Prada. I really like the Angelica note in here. Beautiful, powdery, lightly vegetal, and really delicious fragrance here. Tonka beans, amber, musk, Angelica, Patchouli, and Bergamot. Really solid, and I feel like it's powdery, perfect in the autumn. So it's Luna Rossa Black at number 13. So at number 12, we're going to the house of 001 Man from the house of Loewe, Spanish fashion house under LVMH, and I really love this fragrance, and I like its muskiness and vegetal qualities. This has notes of violet, carrot seeds, ambrette, musk, cypress. So it's musky, it's vegetal, it's powdery, feeling like iris. Carrot seeds, carrot, and iris are kind of similar to me. They have similar scents with differences, you know, but they're used kind of similarly in fragrances, and here it's wonderful. So it's 001 Man from the house of Loewe at number 12. So the next fragrance I'm talking about is Hermes. Hermes's new H24 Eau de Parfum, I should say, not Parfum. A great scent. I really like this one. It's the Narcissus with clary sage. There's oak moss, there's sclerine, and rosewood as well. For me, there's definitely a mossiness here, an oak mossiness. And when I wear this one, there's definitely that kind of damp forest floor-like touch against the clary sage and Narcissus and rosewood and oak. Well, the oak moss is kind of what makes the damp forest floor touch. Really think this is a quality release from this house. Actually, it smells nothing like other men's designer fragrances, and that's what I like about it. So Hermes H24 EDP at number 11. Moving on to the house of Guerlain, it's Heritage, this one right here. Heritage is a really super sexy fragrance. It's kind of a warm amber fougere style. It's kind of barbershoppy a little bit, but it's lots of patchouli with sandalwood, and of course lavender appears. There's amber, there's oak moss, and juniper berry. So it's spicy, it's warm, it's ambery, it's aromatic and herbal. Really wonderful fragrance, classy all the way. Heritage from the house of Guerlain at number 10. Once again, we're going to go back to Tom Ford. This is the second of last fragrance from Tom Ford. This is Ombre Leather. So this one probably is maybe the only technicality here. This is a unisex targeted, I think it's a unisex targeted release. It's a little up in the air. I'm putting it here on this list because, you know, this is a men's list, but this is a great leather fragrance from Tom Ford. It's kind of weird that Tom Ford has two kind of very similar fragrances, Tuscan leather and of course ombre leather, and most people probably went with ombre leather because it's less expensive, and it's kind of sort of similar. And they're not identical, but definitely both leathers, but this is definitely a solid release with leather, jasmine, amber, oak moss, cardamom, and patchouli. This is Ombre Leather at number 9 from the house of Tom Ford. Next, moving on to the house of Costume National. It's Homme EDP. It's Costume National Homme EDP. This one's a warm, spicy, kind of like tea, fruity touch fragrance that is wonderful, created by Dominic Ropion. It's got a very holiday-ish vibe as well. It's cloves, cinnamon, cardamom, sandalwood, labdanum, patchouli, grapefruit, bergamot, and thyme. So it's aromatic, it's spicy, it's woody, and ambery as well. So this is Costume National Homme EDP. Next, moving on to the house of Caron. This is Caron pour un homme de Caron Le Soir. Really wonderful offering from this house. They've taken the original Caron pour un homme de Caron into a darker territory, and they've kind of like darkened and made the fragrance a little more sexy and a little more modern from what it used to be. Whereas the original is lavender and vanilla, and I believe there's a little musk in there as well. This particular fragrance takes those notes and adds some woods and some powder in it as well. So it's lavender, oak, cypress, iris concrete, violet, leaf absolute, ambroxan, tonka beans, and vanilla. It's really, really delicious. I feel like it's very, very classy and a great update to the original fragrance. So it's Cardamom de Caron Le Soir from the house of Caron. The next fragrance I'm talking about is from the house of Givenchy. This is Gentleman EDP. My favorite flanker of this series. I love it because it's powdery and it's a little vegetal. It's the orris, because to me in here it acts a little bit like carrot seeds, which kind of has similarities, both of these, and that's why I feel like Iris Orris has a vegetal quality, but it's a little sweeter and less vegetal than the carrot seeds. But this one's fantastic. It has the orris, of course, the vanilla, the tolu balsam, tonka beans, benzoin, and pepper. So it's got this kind of ambery dry down with the powdery touches from the orris iris. So Gentleman EDP at number 6, a great scent. Love that one. I like it more than the latest flanker of that fragrance. So at number 5, going to the house of Cartier, it's Pasha de Cartier Parfum, and this is probably the only parfum, definitely the only parfum that I have in this list. And I went with this one because the original release obviously is very, very classic, and I don't care for the other flankers that exist in this collection. I really love the parfum, and it's not like overwhelming, but it's a great smelling fragrance, and they've taken the original into kind of a more amber, woody, musky direction with sandalwood. Of course, there's booziness as well with liqueur note, balsam fir, tonka beans, benzoin, ambersanide, patchouli, and labdanum. Great release, Pasha de Cartier Parfum at number 5. Next, going to the house of Tumi. This is Continuum, my favorite of this whole entire collection of fragrances. I like this one because it's tobacco, it's boozy as well, and there's actually a kind of a Coca-Cola fizziness in here. So it's like you have like a rum and Coke and tobacco kind of a combo thing happening, because it's boozy, it's also fizzy, it's got tobacco, suede, musk, amber, incense, labdanum, and definitely has that booziness and of course that fizziness, and I really, really like. I love this one. It's a great smell. They did a great job with this one. It's Continuum from the house of Tumi at number 4. And moving on to the house of Narciso Rodriguez. This is Bleu Noir Parfum, this one right here. You know, I have to be honest, I have to tell you guys about this. I recently featured this as my number 1 fragrance in a list of fragrances as of late, like designer fragrances for men. And somebody commented and said that apparently I was paid by this brand. And that's why I featured it at number 1. First of all, I don't get paid to do any videos, especially for featuring video of fragrances at number 1. So I've never been paid to do anything like that. And also, this brand is not really represented here in the States. Whereas when I'm in Europe, I see all kinds of like displays for this brand, and I brought back the bottle from Printemps, is where I bought the fragrance in Paris, and I really loved it because it smells like the original, then it becomes like something like Dior Intense and things like that. So I was never paid by Narciso Rodriguez, and I will never be paid by that brand. And if I feature a fragrance at number 1, it's because I really love it. And I really do love this one here, but it's going up against a few other fragrances, so it's not being at number 1, it's at number 3. If you like the original Bleu Noir, check this one out, because I love that whole like two-faced kind of an experience. Start with one fragrance and go to something completely different, and that's what I like about this one. Plus it reminds me of Dior Intense. Bleu Noir Parfum from the house of Narciso Rodriguez at number 3. Has that fragrance actually been released here? Does anybody know who sells it besides discounters? Because that's I saw it at Joma Shop for a bit there. I think it's gone now. Moving on to the house of Bentley. This is For Men Intense. This one right here. For Men Intense is one of my all-time favorite designer fragrances and created by one of my all-time favorite perfumers. I really like this one, and it smells fantastic on me. I love the dry down and the trail it leaves, and I love that about it. Plus it's boozy, because I love boozy fragrances. It's got smoke, it's got aromatics, it's got leather, it's got lots of different things going on with it, and it's super fantastic. For Men Intense from Bentley, number 2. No, I'm not featuring Dior Homme Parfum in this video. As I said, I'm not featuring parfums. Dior Homme Parfum is a beast. This is Dior Homme Intense at number 1. So Dior Homme Intense is what I used to really love until I loved Dior Homme Parfum, and I'm totally happy with Dior Homme Intense if I can't get Dior Homme Parfum, because they sort of seem similar and smell similar. I like its powdery qualities, its iris, its leather, its cedar, its ambrette, lavender, pear, vetiver. It's super delicious, it's super sexy, and I love the smell, and it's a fantastic smell. It's a great DNA, and they've done a great job with this up until 2020 Diorum, but I don't know. Anyway, I really like this one. It deserves the #1 spot. Here, in this collection of fragrances, Diorum Intense and Diorum Parfum are some of my all-time favorite designer fragrances that still smell great today. You know, there's some designer fragrances that have launched years ago that don't smell good right now, but they used to be some of my all-time favorite fragrances. Right now, Diorum Intense still smells fantastic, and it beats a lot of the designer fragrances out there. Anyway, that's my list. Autumn fragrances for men from the designers. What are your thoughts on these fragrances? Do you like these fragrances? Are you a fan? And what are you wearing this autumn? Please let me know. Put a comment down so I can find out. You should definitely go catch my video, the niche version of this video. I have it linked in the info box. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching today. If you have any questions or comments, please do list below. Please like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye. Alright, I'm featuring one more fragrance here. I decided to leave this fragrance off the main list because it might be a little too old school for you guys. But I don't think it should be, because the Pacha de Cartier Parfum is sort of old schoolish as well. But I decided to put this here, Drakkar Intense from the house of Guy Laroche. This is a great update to the original. It's kind of got this warmth to it. It's lavender, it's vanilla, coriander, it's absinthe, patchouli, moss, and clary sage. So it's kind of boozy, it's mossy, it's earthy, definitely woody, and it's warmed up with vanilla here, and it's ambery for sure. So definitely a great suggestion. I don't think this got a release here in the States either. Did it? Did anybody know where it was sold? And in fact, when I was traveling in Europe, I didn't even see it in Europe. I don't know what the deal with this fragrance is. I really love it. Anyway, Drakkar Intense. That's the bonus fragrance for you guys. Thanks so much for watching, and stay tuned for another video very soon. Bye-bye.